Right, so welcome back. It's episode two.
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 We've only
Yeah,
done one.
can count that far. Good start, isn't it? So yeah, episode two. We're live and direct again from the boardroom, and this episode is going to hopefully, not that our last episode wasn't, a bit more information, a bit more helpful to you as a consumer, and hopefully not to educate you in a sense, but to shed a bit of light on the buying and selling of vehicles, certainly from your angle of the customer journey, because that's a big question. A lot of people are a bit confused when it comes down to who to sell to, the options, the right and wrongs. I guess we can touch on trade, part exchange, and private as well. Um, I guess a bit of housework though. How are you getting on? Anything? Any news? Doing
Just
all right?
dandy. Just dandy,
Just
Thomas.
dandy.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
But we've been very busy.
Yep.
Yeah, really, really busy, which is great. We need more cars, which is a nice problem to have. It's one of the preferred problems in my eyes. But getting on fine. It's just really, really busy. Just trying to find the time to do everything. Is
What are we on this month?
20, we've written 29 cars in 14 days, which is massive
Mental.
considering we stock hold less than 50. So
What do
we've
you want me to do? Finish 130% turnover?
So yeah,
Someone for that?
I think we would get. I'd be confident to say we got 50 out the door, which is 110% turnover and out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mental, isn't it?
crazy.
That's good a week, so I'm going to do a proper video on it. I reckon our average advertised days in stock for what we've been selling have been
Oh, it was mad,
within
wasn't
a
it?
week. It's got to be.
Yeah, it was from actual like on the website to
I've
sold.
noticed when we've been doing Twack, I've noticed cars. Oh, this is just new in. This is just new in. By the end of the week,
Yes,
I'm sitting in the sales part,
yeah,
and I'm like, oh, sold
and
that,
it's in the
sold
sold
that,
bay.
sold that.
I've noticed
It's
that.
crazy, isn't it?
I've
Yeah.
noticed that. It's mad. Yeah, it is crazy. Yes, it's and there's no pattern to it at the minute. It's really difficult to sort of determine that at the minute. People ask me all the time, like, what's selling well? What would you ideally, what would you like to buy? What sells best? And I'm like, at the minute, I'm like, "Pfft." It's really difficult. I couldn't, a few years ago, I could say, oh, you give me a 3 Series or a Land Rover Evoque or a Discovery Sport or something like that. I'll flip them in a couple of weeks. But at the minute, it's like, geez, we've been selling like Versos, Passats, vans. It's mad. Yes, it's crazy. Value stuff, I always say, like, we try and stay out of competing with main dealers,
Yeah, big boys.
because it just is what it is, isn't it? Like you can't you just can't offer the same car for the same money for one say that's up at Audi, for example. You can't do that. People are going to buy it from Audi. It's just how it is. So those cars either got to be cheap, or we don't stock them. But no, yeah. In a nutshell, busy, frantic, need cars, but we're doing well.
So if you're looking to sell, let us know. 'Cause
Yes,
we're
do
in a
let us know,
good
please.
position.
Yes.
So let's talk about buying and selling then. So,
Hmm.
I mean, we direct most of our cars in terms of where we source our stock from our used car buying sites.
Yeah.
So Swindon Car Buyer, Bath, Cheltenham, Oxford is sort of closed, but so we've
Well, it's
dormant
laying
at the
dormant,
moment.
isn't it, for a
Yeah.
minute? Yeah, we've got.
We find ourselves a bit too far out in motor
Yeah,
lanes up that way, and it was they
it's
weren't the
difficult
best
to control,
cars.
isn't it?
Exactly
It's
that.
really difficult to control out there.
Because yeah. So I guess we can touch on that. So we launched Swindon Car Bar October 2021.
Is that when it was? Was
Yeah,
it that long ago
October
now? Right, yeah,
2021
okay,
it
fine.
was. I know
Wow.
that because the Jesse May board says since that.
Ah, yeah,
So we
okay.
launched Swindon Car Bar 2021. The idea was to replace stock for the business. So we never went to physical auctions.
No.
We always went to the more main dealery.
Well, it'd be like an internal dealer. You could call it a dealer auction. It wasn't.
In a sense.
It's like the internal ones, like like the Sytner cars and
So
other
Mercedes,
other main
Second
dealers and
BMW,
stuff.
MPX, they can't retail.
Yeah, so they put it on a
approach
database,
other dealers,
and we've got access to that database being in the trade. Yeah, it's not like a physical auction, like an independent auction, as it were. They are. Yeah, it's what I would call an internal
Yeah.
auction, like a dealer only. You've got to be a VAT registered business and trader to be able to be even a part of it. Whoops. Yeah, so that was the old model, wasn't it? Either that part exchanges, or we would get the old sell us your car, which
Yeah.
is like people just
Just driving past.
coming in off the
Store.
street. Yeah.
But we were flying all over. Not so much you, but me and Tim living in Bristol. We were flying to
Oh, logistics was
Scotland,
nuts.
Newcastle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it became a big drain financially and for the time. So we thought there's got to be another option. And I think we were one of the earlier companies to start doing the source your own stock.
Yeah. Like that officially, isn't it? Like create your own, like actually brand it as a buying business.
Yes.
You know, yeah, because people would put like, we buy cars for cash. Or your traders have been doing
Yeah.
that for years, obviously.
And now it's become a big thing that other dealers are looking into it, and it's not
Yeah.
an easy thing to get right. First
No,
and
it's
foremost, it's extremely
oh,
difficult.
it's a minefield.
Yeah.
It's really difficult. Honestly, I haven't got much control or I don't deal with that side of the business that much, do I? Not that much really. So but from what I do see and the conversations I do get involved in, especially on things like analytics and pay per click, all this sort of stuff, and geographics and things like that, it's just a really difficult. It's a really difficult business to plan for.
Yes.
It really is,
Because it evolves and changes so quick.
and it's so competitive. That's the feedback I always get. Like it's just so competitive. Unless you want to set up like a stand somewhere, which you'd have to have manned, and that seems like that seemed like an idea, but difficult. But yeah, the way we do it is we find that it's very, very competitive because you're competing with the likes of all the dealers, the big groups. You're competing with We Buy Any Car. You're competing with Motorways, all them sort of people.
I think it's difficult to do it right because how we operate the business for the buying side, just to give you an insight, is we're very transparent and honest. We don't false promise anything. So the whole process is an inquiry form gets sent through. We appraise the car on the phone with the customer. We make it very clear that we want to guarantee this bid, but you need to ensure the information you give us is correct. So by the time you actually go through that process, yes, of course, our offer, which is a guaranteed bid, is always going to differ to these online quotes.
It frequently does, doesn't it?
Because that isn't a bid, which we'll touch on in a moment, but it's very difficult to run it that way. It's a lot easier just to say, oh, we'll give you this much.
It could be worth up to this.
To get someone really excited. But ethically, I don't think that's the right way to do business. That doesn't sort of synergize with us. I mean, the right way to do business is to earn money, isn't it?
It depends. It depends how you want to be considered, doesn't it?
Correct.
If you want to play the numbers game, you probably could do it like that.
Yeah.
But we want to.
Which we are looking into, actually.
We're looking into do it. We're looking into doing it differently, aren't we? All automated.
Correct. Yeah.
But
not,
don't want to say too much about that because it's in the works at the moment. So
not in the sense of an unrealistic figure.
No.
Like motorways and stuff that we'll come to in a sense.
Yeah. So yeah, we're thinking about that. But yeah, the way we do it is difficult because we don't. There's no plug-in to. We don't give a range. We don't overinflate a figure. We don't offer necessarily we don't shoot a figure at the customer that's like top potential if the car was like looked like brand new, basically just needs a valeting on sort of thing. We don't promise any sort of heights, do we? We try and we have a conversation and like you say, appraise the car over the phone and then say, look, if that is how it is when we turn up, this is the figure, we'll buy it.
Money's in your account before we drive off.
Yeah.
Collection's free, no admin fees.
Really smooth.
Really
slick.
That we'll touch on.
Yeah.
So yeah, in
And then
terms
feet
of,
comfy.
let's get back to motorways really, because they're the ones at the moment that are the most prominent. Even watching the Six Nations, you've got Lawrence Dallaglio in the changing room. They've got.
Is that right? I haven't seen. Yeah.
So Lawrence Dallaglio was in the changing room doing a thing for motorways. Like the marketing they spend.
You always see it on TV. I mean, whoever invented motorways is a genius.
Very clever.
I take my hat off to them. Yeah, real smart. I mean, what they've done is just incredible.
I think they rented an office space. I read up onto this, and they spent 6 months.
Mad.
Just trying to create a biz. They're marketing guys. They're not motor trade led in a sense.
Yeah,
They're
fine.
all marketing.
Clever.
Very clever.
The right guys. Yeah.
And they got on at the right time because I think when they were first prominent, when they really started pushing it, was after COVID.
Is that right?
They've been in business for a while beforehand, but I think they become into real prominence in COVID because of how their business model works. So we may as well touch on that. So Motorways is an online auction for dealers to log into. What they'll do is you'll put your reg in, put your mileage, and they'll just say, we'll give you X. So people think, great, I've been given this offer from Motorways. However, if you actually read the icon, it's based on 12 months worth of data.
Right.
And it just says, so if I said a Mercedes, it would say based on Mercedes sold. It doesn't specify your exact spec, your model, anything like that. So it's quite vague in terms of their actual quote online.
Right.
But I think they came into prominence because when car prices were going up, dealers were happy to bid more money.
Yeah, of course they were, because they needed stock as well.
You couldn't get a bad review because car prices were going up and up and up. So over that period where they really pushed their dominance, and fair play to them, they saw it and ran with it. You couldn't not, could you? Because
No?
most cars were selling for more than the value was. So they profited really well from the business model at that exact point.
So timing was good.
Now it's the opposite. I spoke with a lot of customers recently, and they're
Go on.
far behind the curve.
Are they?
Yes. They're still promising data, I think, that was relative to when the market was fairly stable about 11 to 12 months ago.
Right. Oh, so when you mean behind the curve, what do you mean? Like,
As in, they're saying we can generate this,
yeah.
and then obviously you then upload photos, they'll reappraise the car, which they'll always then take off any damages.
Yeah.
And then the dealers aren't bidding
Anywhere near.
still.
Fine. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because I think the competition
But
has come off a little bit on.
But as long as that figure's there, though, if we're trying to bid against them, and because you can, there's so many plugins you can use in it as a customer. There's so many, We Buy Any Car, Motorways, yeah, Swindon Car Buyer. So the likelihood is these people ain't going to just plug it in R1 and then wait for us to call.
No.
While they're there spending 20 minutes on the computer, they're going to look at them all.
Yeah.
And if one figure is like boop, 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 like the highest by a country mile, you're probably going to let it run its course, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I get that.
That's why there's still a problem.
It's definitely still a problem, and I think people are fairly understanding
It's
in terms of some people I spoke to will always disregard the highest quote and the lowest quote. They'll stick to somewhere that's more in the middle.
Yeah, okay.
Which is very sensible. Obviously,
That
you want
is-
to get as much money as possible.
Yeah.
I understand that. But I think people do. I said to customers before on this, because that used to be my side of the business, didn't it?
Yeah.
Before I sort of transitioned over. And I remember always saying to customers, companies like me and We Buy Any Car, who, as bad as they are as a company, they're actually fairly sensible on their bids. So I will give them that in truth. They're not very nice when you get down there, but they're fairly realistic in comparison to the more generic auction sites. And I said, if We Buy Any Car and the market leaders, which I think they still are,
Yeah,
say, for
okay,
instance,
yeah.
are £2,000 behind motorways, or they're that far behind motorways, they wouldn't be buying cars. One of them's got to be lying.
This is a difficult bit, innit? Like I say, I don't spend enough time with it to be able to put my finger on it and actually like analyze it all and come up with an answer, to be quite honest. But yeah, it does beg the question. I think one of those aspects is probably related to time, because what you'll probably find is, especially, well, I say not especially, what you'll probably find is that if people are aware, I don't know how far it gets down the journey of motorways before people are informed of how long it could take them to actually get their car bought or sold or whatever it is. But I think time is a massive factor, and it probably, people understand that We Buy Any Cars, like, you can get your car valued, you can book an appointment, go down and sell your car.
Yeah.
That's
there
like,
and then, isn't
that's important, isn't it? Like, because to someone that's already been at a dealer, which is probably already the case, you know, they've probably been in a dealer, but after they've got an idea what their PX is worth from either like an initial inquiry, phone or internet, they've looked on We Buy Any Car as well. Because very rarely nowadays do people start their journey by walking into the dealer. They've done it all online, haven't they? They've looked at their finance, looked at the...
now, isn't it?
Yeah, they've done it all online. They've basically completed the journey digitally. They just want to physically go in to see the car. So they've got a background from what their car's worth on Motorway, We Buy Any Car, the dealer. And I think the fact that if We Buy Any Car is still offering strong money for certain cars and they can offer to buy the car off you there and then, that means something to people.
Yeah.
You rather than like wait out a week, 2 weeks, whatever it could be to get a slightly inflated bid for motorway. If it's fairly reasonable, I think people will save the time and just snap it up.
And you're not sure who's coming out. I know there are approved
Yeah.
dealers. I'd love to be able to just try and see how easy it would be for Joe Bloggs off the street. I don't know what you need.
I know.
But I'd be very surprised.
Or just to like watch
if you would
one.
need to prove a lot of stuff. I reckon it'd just be a VAT or company number or anything like that.
Oh, what, to be registered on
Yeah,
motorways?
how would they
It'd be
vet
like the
who's
SIT
buying?
thing, I guess. Yeah, I reckon it'll just be a VAT number registered as a trader. I don't know.
I couldn't imagine they
But
do
I-
background checks or anything.
Well, I do. Yeah, it's like, how do you do that? Innit? Like, because do you discriminate against like new businesses that have got no
Correct,
background to give you? I expect it'll be like a feedback system, like you get through the other ones. You know, like if you're the winning bidder of a car, and you win. Well, if you win a number of cars and you start pissing people off, that feedback gets sent in, and they'll probably just blacklist you, man. I expect. I would guess.
Yeah, something I've not actually looked into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would based
Like
on
that.
based on the other systems that I've used in the past when that used to be a thing and stuff, especially for more like independent dealers and things. Like you got dealer auctions sitting there. I think there's a few of them. I can't remember now. It's been a while. That's like how it works. You get like a feedback and rating system, and then too many like negatives, and you'll get like off you go sort of thing. Yeah.
So I want to ask a question that conflicts, well, what Philip Schofield used to say, not anymore.
Ah, right. Good old
You
Phil.
get more
Yeah.
money, not part exchanging.
Oh well, that's just not true, is it?
No.
It
I wanted your
right.
tuppence on it because you.
Oh, I could
I
bang on
remember for a
about this
bang.
all
Yeah.
day. When I seen that advert come out, I thought, you
People buy into that
shitbox.
all the time.
Oh, of course
buy
they
into
do.
that.
Well, it's a very powerful statement, isn't it? Because people already got a stigma orientated around dealers that they're trying to sell you a car, make money that way. They want to nick your part exchange. It's not true. It's business, so we need to make money off your part exchange. But if you bring me a part exchange, especially particularly a retailable one, like I want your car. I want to do it.
Replaces the stock.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Gone are the days now. Like, well, I say gone are the days, especially for people like us. The way we set our standards and price the cars, like whether you come in with a part exchange or not. Like, if you come in with no part exchange and say I got straight cash for this car, that doesn't win you any brownie points to get any discounts. There's actually less elements of the deal for me to be productive on.
Cash isn't king anymore.
Cash is not king. It is the opposite, whatever the opposite of a king is. Well, being politically correct.
We get told off.
You can't say that. You can no, you can. It's definitely like yeah, no. I don't know what it is
No.
PC wise, so we'll leave it at that. It's the opposite of what cash is not king anymore.
No.
There's no secret in that. Like physical cash, but because it costs us as a business to actually transact in money now.
What's the legal amount of tender you can take?
I think it's either 8, 9, or 10,000 euros per deal, unless you declare yourself a high value business that deals in high value assets, which you then pay some sort of fee for. I think it's either 8, 9, or 10,000 euros, and that's per deal, mind. So like if you sell a 50 grand Bentley, you can take 8 grand on that deal once. You can't like do 8, the next day 8, the next day 8 in actual hard cash. But it costs us to pay it in the bank as well. We set the company policy for us is 1,000. Money laundering's a thing. Paying in cash is a thing.
We can't bank more than.
Depends where you go. It's a certain amount a day, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the point is, we want part exchanges to retail. That's like the best deal. The best deal for me is a customer that's got a part exchange that I can go again with. Because otherwise, I've only got to put those efforts into replacing the car via other means, sourcing it by I've got to pay staff, pay systems, pay logistics, time, fuel. Like if someone brings it to me as part of a part exchange, part of a deal, and I want to retail that car, I'm as motivated as you can get to get that car off you.
And it's convenient for them.
That's super convenient, yeah.
You drive in one, drive out the other.
And we'll try and fight with We Buy Any Car, especially if they haven't been to like We Buy Any Car, because it's like, well, look, we know how it works.
Read the reviews,
Yeah, we know how it works. I've heard that sometimes it happens where people get what they're promised.
Well, there was a.
But they're still subject to a transaction fee and stuff, and then you got to pay like to get the money in a certain amount of day. If you want the money out within a certain amount of time, that's extra and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no. If you're trying to buy a car and you have a car that you need to sell as well, and it's something that I would retail, there's no quicker way to get rid of it than try and do a deal with us. I want it.
Years ago, Trading Standards they looked into We Buy Any Car.
Did they?
You can read up on it. It's really interesting.
My market insight into these sorts of companies is really
What
poor.
percentage of customers during the period that it was a proper investigation.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Mad. I didn't know.
Percentage of customers were given the initial quote online?
Oh, go on.
4%.
4%.
4%. That's what they found.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying that reflects the business now.
No.
Because we can only take, and I think it was about 2012, if I'm not mistaken. But if you Google it, it's on there.
4%'s really slim, isn't it? That's really slim.
But you've got admin fee regardless. They say subject admin fee. I think unless it's under £95 or under £100 or something ridiculous, they waive the admin fee.
Right.
So off the bat, you got to pay the admin fee, just 75 quid, I think.
Right. Okay.
You got to pay for the money in your account same day. That's 22 quid when I look.
It's something I know. I know it was something like that. Yeah, because where I used to work, we used to run a thing against in competition with that and stuff. Yeah, that's really interesting. But we know the transaction's not as personable or anything at these other companies and stuff. And there's various other elements that cause customer stress and be left to feel like they've been led up the garden path sort of thing, isn't it?
Because once you're there as well, if you've gone down and they start beating the car up,
Yeah, well, we've had it, haven't we?
you're almost like, oh, well, I'm here now.
We've had it. My brother has a pitch down the road from a buying outlet, and he gets so much pass by because he parks a van on the side of the road saying we'll be blah blah blah. Gets loads.
I've got the sign that I'm going to sit down outside of her.
Do it, innit? Yeah.
Just going to wait for some good weather.
Yeah, fine.
It's unhappy with your valuation, and I'm going to sit there and see how I get on against another buying service.
That'd be interesting.
And we'll do a video on it. I think it'd be quite fun.
I think that will be funny. But no, the aim of the game is we need, we can't sell cars unless we buy cars. If I can't have a retailable part exchange, then I've got to use my own resources to get a car, haven't I, to sell? So going back to the original question, no, what was said on the original advert is not true at all. Not at all. Couldn't be further from the truth, actually.
I want to touch on private selling because I know you've had experience with it with your granddad's?
Auntie and uncle's car.
Aunt and uncle's.
Yeah.
How did you find that process?
Horrible. Horrible.
You're probably one of the most educated people in terms of your knowledge, background to sell a car.
Right. Yeah, I've been
You
selling
had
cars
an
for a while.
Awful experience.
Oh, it's terrible. It's awful. First of all, I don't like the whole process. I don't like people coming to my house, and that might just be me. But I don't, you don't know who people are these days and what's. Well, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of randomers coming to my house for one. People that are buying. Bearing in mind, this car was up for 995, £1,000. It's an 05 plate Mondeo or something with like 12 months MOT. And I had people ring, ask more questions than I get down the phone here on like any car, the most finicky of cars you'd expect. Camera's gone down. That's all right. I think this one stopped as well. Yeah, so I'm going to turn you back on.
How did I manage that?
That's all right. That happens.
How in God's name did it do that?
Because it's on a sticky pad on a non-sticky surface.
Nice little interlude there.
Yeah. Sorry, we took a quick break. Right, yeah, the private sale. Yes, it's horrible. Yeah, I don't like people coming to my house. You have messages from people asking ridiculous questions, like, will you take 300 quid? Obviously, crikey, let's just smash the studio out. Will you take £300?
Studio.
Yeah, the studio. No, I won't. Yeah. Just bombarded with questions, like, and the expectations seem worse than people walking in to a retail outlet where cars are prepped really well and there's an after sales experience and stuff like that. It's like, how long ago was this replaced? When was this? I'm flipping it. I don't know, mate. The car's £1,000. Well, it's got 12 months ticket. It's £1,000. What do you want from me, isn't it? And I one person said, it sounds a bit like, I can't remember what part of it was. It sounds a bit tired. I said, I'm sure it is. It's 20 years old. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I have people turn up to my house, one person spent 3 hours there on a Saturday night, 3 hours, and didn't buy the car. £1,000 Mondeo. Like, it's an absolute rigmarole. The private market, I think the buyers expect so much and I get why, because there's no comeback on the car. Like, once you've bought it, you're on your own.
Yeah.
So you have to, they're well in the know that once you leave that person's driveway, unless you want to start a civil dispute,
Which you do run the risk of.
which you do run the risk
I
of.
bet there's a lot of people that sell privately that get phone calls and knocks on their doors.
But how much is that effort for everyone involved again as well, and stress when there's families involved and stuff like that. And that's what I said I don't want. Like, I hated it as well because I'm quite a conscientious person. Like, my morals are quite strong, I feel. I don't even want the thought that someone could come back to me in a month's time because now they know where I live and the car's blown up. Like, I don't know nothing about the car. All I know is it's been MOT'd, It seemed to drive okay on the way over here. My auntie and uncle are in their 70s, so they asked me to help them sell it. I'm just trying to sell a car for them. I don't want any upset people turning back up at my house now because they know where I live. I didn't like that aspect of it either. Like, so not only, yeah, was it time consuming, it was mentally draining dealing with the inquiries and the types of questions and the people turning up. And then there's the worry of after effects as well. Yeah, selling a car privately,
How long did it
it's
take?
horrible. About 3 weeks. But in those 3 weeks, I reckon I probably had 60 inquiries. 5 people turn up.
If you were to pay yourself the time it took, do you think you'd be better off just selling to a trader at that point?
Well, it depends how much I charge myself out at an hour. But I wouldn't, I mean, because that car probably booked at 300 quid. But for the amount of time, stress, and everything it caused me, if I paid myself £10 an hour, I bet I'd have been better off.
Yeah. I'm not saying you can run your life like that, but what did you get for it in the end? Was it £1,000? Did you have to give something away?
No, I think I got 800. I think I got £850. I think, or £800, something like that. Yeah. And to be honest, the guy that actually bought it in the end was lovely. He was really nice, really nice person. But you have to flip in.
I mean, if it's got 12 months, as a rule, it's always worth 400 quid, isn't it? That's a fair.
Oh yeah, I'd have thought. Yeah, I'd have thought so. But it's like, you know, and I just took the attitude that, mate, here's the keys. Have a look round. Just knock back on the door if you're interested. I'm not gonna try to sell it you. You know. Help yourself. Saturday night, mate. Yeah.
Got a curry and a pint waiting at home.
Well, you know, 'cause Saturday night, isn't it?
Yeah.
Saturday night, even if it's Tuesday night, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't, yeah, I didn't like it at all. I thought it was a hateful experience, and I just trying to think if I've sold any other cars privately. Not for years. I did consider it with my M140, but to be honest, that experience alone and some of the feedback that I see people getting on the online groups when they're selling their car, I think, gee, I actually left the M140 Owners Club on Facebook. So I thought it'd be a helpful place to be, little tips and tricks and little coding things and stuff like that.
People screaming.
Oh my God, honestly, I couldn't deal with it. At first I thought it was a bit funny, but I thought, gee, this is just sour, man, it's savage. Because I thought that'd be the place as well to tee yourself up for you selling it through there. That's where you'd get your premium.
Yeah.
But Jesus, no.
That's 2000 forums, all right?
Are they?
They're a bit more friendly.
I bet they're.
The American one's a bit sassy.
I bet they're.
UK
Sassy's
one's-
fine
the
though.
UK one's pretty
Sassy's fine though. For some of these people are savage, man. Toxic. Yeah, it's really bad. I don't mind that, but look, yeah. I mean, the S2000 is a difficult one though because it depends. These people mind on S2000 forums.
good.
They
We know what they're like from selling that one, don't we?
yeah, but they know they want to
Ins and
know
outs.
they want to see every bolt underneath, every millimeter of rust. They want to see all of it. Yeah, I must have sent 7 or 8 detailed videos of that car now.
It's just because of the MOT, isn't it? It's like surface level corrosion.
Yeah,
All it
and
is.
I've actually showed someone the surface level corrosion and got it off with a wire brush. But it's like, yeah, cars like that I get to a degree because it's an old car, so it could have various ailments, couldn't it, related to
Yeah.
age and stuff like that. And it's decent money. We're asking decent money for it. Relatively, the price is fine.
Yeah.
But so I get it. But I mean,
You got to expect it.
yeah. And that was the last
20 years old
conversation I had, I think. Yeah, it's 20
Mine's
years old.
20 years old.
You show me a 20-year-old car that ain't got underbody surface rust.
Mine's 20-year-old next month, I think.
Yeah.
That's probably got a bit of rust.
That'll have underbody rust now, based on where it's been parked for the last year and a half.
Tips and tricks for people selling their car then? To you, let's say. They want to part exchange it.
Okay, yeah,
What would you
difficult
suggest
one
to
because
someone part exchanging
I
their
don't want to come across. I appreciate where we're broadcasting from, like I'm a car dealer. I want your car basically, so I want to try and keep it as objective and honest as possible. That response, I guess. Tips and tricks for selling your car. Well, if you want to sell your car to me, the best way to sell it to me, bring me it. Bring me it. If I can see it, I'm already far more engaged, obviously, in wanting to buy it. Like I want to buy it with someone over the phone, but if someone's like, yeah, I'll bring it down, I'm like, mint, and it gives me we can pretty much dot every I and cross every T there together. Then, if there's any questions around different options, or we can have the battle, the deal there and then.
Yeah.
Bringing it to me is definitely the best way to do it. I hate giving a figure over the phone. Obviously, will, because I have to. Like, you're not going to win anyone by saying, "Look, bring it down. I'll give you the figure." If someone says, "No, I want to know what it's worth over the phone," I want you to tell me, even if it's a rough estimate. If I go, "No," I ain't ever seen that person anyway. But I hate that, because it's very once at that point, I've always I can't. I want to give a competitive enough figure that it keeps people interested. I don't want to give maybe potentially the very best figure, because if I'm saying that's it, that's the best, I'm out after this, right, Tom? Your cars, I'm out after this. And they quickly go, "We buy any car motorways," right? Okay, forget car, right? Not enough. They've said they're out at $7,000. It's just popped up 7.5 on the system here. They might not ever think of me again. And then trying to follow up with a phone call or an email and stuff, I'm just too easy to ignore at that point. The best way to sell your car to me is to bring it. But I will say that I beg people just to try me again anyway. If it's like a phone conversation, I'll always have another stab at it if I can. If it's something I want to retail, definitely. Because I'm sensitive to the fact that, again, to source the car myself, I've got to put money into time, resources, logistics, and wages, and all sort. I've only got So that's the best way to sell a car to me, is it? And I think if you're going to go out and sell the car to a We Buy Any Car, drive to a We Buy Any Car place anyway, then yeah, bring it to me. I'm as motivated as anybody, because I'm typically, what I would say is key to understand is that I'm like your end customer. If you're selling me a car, I'm your end customer. Whereas if you sell it to a buying service, they're not your end customer. So they've still got to take a cut from their end customer to make it worth buying off you. I'm the last chink in the chain as far as you're concerned.
Yeah.
So I don't have to satisfy a middleman anywhere. If it's reasonable and I have got the facility to pay the money you want, we could get there. And I know that if that's a retailable car as well, I can offset, because I know, look, it trades at 7, but it's out at 11. The book's saying it's 7, but it's out at 11. Top book on it's 7, 7.5. Listen, if that's a nice enough car when it gets here, it needs minimal prep, it might be 7.5, 8 for that car. But that conversation is much easier to have when the car's in front of me. It's one of those things, isn't it? If something's tangible, it's much easier to buy. And that goes the same for me.
Do you think people are realistic with their prices, or are they still hung up on COVID, some of them, do you think?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely about. I think it's, listen, people.
I've always wanted too much, first and foremost.
Well, historically, and sometimes, yeah, definitely. But it's like, what you've got to try and understand what you've got to try and understand, if you're me, is try and understand them. So it's like, are people realistic with their prices? They might be, but is that the price they've given you? Probably not. There's probably a level of realism there somewhere. Don't get me wrong. We definitely speak to people that it's like, well, I want £8,000 for the car, but look, it's 6,995 on the forecourt. So in £8,000, like it's not. So some people are definitely still unrealistic. Where they get that information from, I don't know. I would suggest that's probably being drowned in forum chatter. I would suggest.
I think negative equity is what I deal a lot with.
Negative equities, well,
if people have financed and rolled negative equity over on a new deal, certainly after the price is spiked and they look to sell now, because they've come off so much.
Oh, there's a sting there, isn't there?
People are really stuck in a difficult, which we get, and
I get that.
You've got to try and bridge a gap, but
you have, but I mean that might not. Go on.
You've got to look at what they're retailing at. Like it takes 2 minutes to go and to find out.
Yeah, I think that's probably people clinging to a little bit of hope sometimes. I think whether that's people actually thinking that's what their car is worth, or that's people like saying, look, this is what I need. And then that's a different conversation anyway. I can say, look, best women in the world, I can't be doing that. But are customers realistic? Sometimes definitely not. Sometimes yes, but the biggest pool of them is like, you're nearly, because with all these buying services out here and stuff like that, it's not hard to educate yourself on what your car's possibly worth. If you're looking at what cars are up for online at dealers, you might as well forget it. Unless it's something like this like over list or a super desirable car that you like S2000s and stuff that you can't get anymore. But you got to think that guy or girl's got to take a slice anyway. So just because it's up for sale at a dealer, this is what I get a lot. This is where the unrealistic stuff comes from for me. I've seen them up for sale for, yeah, well, it could be,
I
couldn't
expect
it?
you to have a 1,500 quid margin.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
work.
You can't really do that. But there's enough tools out there for people to educate themselves, but you've got to use the right tools in the right way. So like websites like ours where you can get your car valued, that's the correct tool to use. We Buy Any Car does give you like an insight, expect it to be inflated. Same with motorways. But you know, we ran a test the other day, didn't we, against Book on my M140 against what it booked at in two different books, Auto Trader, Cap on our website, and what We Buy Any Car offered, and they were similar, weren't they? They weren't more than like £800 to £1,000 was the biggest
Jump.
difference, I think. Yeah. So you know, there's plenty of tools out there to educate yourself on what it could be worth, and then then you've got to start making phone calls. Then I think. So yeah, what question did you actually ask me? I feel like I veered off massively there. Are people's expectations too high? Is that what you
I
said?
think so, yeah.
Ah,
People are
right.
still stuck after COVID.
Yeah, that's definitely a
I think
thing.
people still think
Yeah,
prices are
we still get people coming and go, I know used cars are strong, aren't they? They're up.
not normal.
No, they're not. They're up on where they should be, based on the fact the market spiked horrendously. Like if the market back pre-COVID had continued to on its downward trajectory like is the standard, then they would be down here. But as a result of it going bump, 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 they're probably,
But they crashed everything. It's steadied now. I'm not saying that for the video. I think the last
yeah,
2 months I've noticed the book prices have been pretty consistent.
yeah. But
Some have plateaued and some have done a normal level of depreciation, I would say. But August to November was ridiculous, I've noticed on car.
yeah, some things took a dive. Big one.
Big SUVs, big expensive cars.
Electric.
Well, EVs have done that for a while.
Debt.
We pulled the plug on EVs.
Had to, man.
Well, we had underwrites on it on loads, and I remember saying to Tim, I'm not touching them.
Yeah,
So I'm not touching EVs.
we can. We
had
couldn't get underwrites
complexes
on
and
them.
stuff.
I think it was. I can't remember which one of the finance companies was. I think it was Motor Nova. At one point, was like I got a message. I can't remember if it was a phone call or like a a memo thing or whatever it was. Like we're not doing PCPs on Tesla. We won't offer a GFE.
Can't offer a residual.
Yeah. Nuts.
Crazy, isn't it?
And then when Elon dropped the prices of them new,
69,420.
everyone's like, yeah, it's difficult. But no, cars have been on a gentle, on a sensible decline since November the year before last, I think, realistically. But yeah, some cars have took massive hits. Obviously, JLR products of late took a, Jaguar Land Rover stuff, particularly Land Rover stuff, took a massive slap lately. Anything lumpy, old diesels aren't great news anymore. The non-new les stuff.
No.
EVs are
Death.
trouble, real trouble. Like full electric's difficult for us.
Because people were panicking about hybrid, and I never understood that. I don't get, especially if it's like self-charging or something, because it's the best of both.
It might be the best of both technologies, but best of both. It shares both, doesn't it? It's difficult. Like it's got to fit a purpose, hasn't it? Like it's got to fit. It's got to be sold to someone in the right way, and we're getting it now with like Outlanders and stuff on a 15 plate. So how much longer have I got on the battery? Like the manufacturer guarantees it for I don't know what 8 years or 100,000 miles. It's like, well, that's 8 years old now. So what happens to the battery? And we're like, I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't like to think how much a battery would be on.
Thousands. I mean, there are EV specialists about. When I went to a garage seminar, that one in Birmingham the other week, there's some good EV specialists in and around our area and everywhere. I think that can do like cell repair and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, it's not cheap. You're still probably into four figures if there's something difficult wrong. We got Zoe over of them at the minute, haven't we? That you said, Craig, don't matter which way you look at this, it's well into four. Even if I can four figures, thousands it'll be. Even if I can repair it.
It's one cell as well, isn't it?
It's one. I can't remember. Elliot's best person to answer this. I can't remember how they categorize it. If it's a module or a cell. I don't know if a module is a group of cells or a cell is, yeah.
Yeah.
Because some cars, it depends on, apparently on those, there's two battery types as well. One's like repairable, the other's like not, or it's got a different build into it and stuff. You can repair like certain bits. Like, I think the BMWs are in, I think the i3s are individual cells.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the selling points for them when I worked there, I'm pretty sure. Still going to cost you some money, mine. But yeah, things that have got like a flat battery, like as in like it's just one battery unit. I don't know how to answer those questions. Our warranty does support it, but not, it supports like failure of some of the stuff around the battery system, but it doesn't support like cell degradation.
How can it? Because it will.
How can it? It's a
It's like your
battery.
battery phone.
Yeah. So I don't.
Apple aren't gonna.
Yeah. So there, yeah, EVs is trouble, and I do think soon, based on that point, we're gonna have problems with hybrid. Just because the battery's always going to be a question. Yes, you can always, as long as there's fuel in the car, you'll always be able to run a hybrid car. You'll never get stuck. If you want to drive to Scotland, you'll get there. You might have to fuel up more often than you would in a diesel or something if your battery goes. But you could always get somewhere as long as you've got the option to pull up at a pump. But there's still those questions around how long's the battery got left.
Well, I couldn't even get home.
In what?
When we had that hybrid
Was it-
electric thing.
That was the Zoe? No. Was it the City Go?
No, it was. Where did Nathan used to work? Here. Is that
Nick.
Ionic 5, isn't it?
Oh,
Ionic?
that thing, yeah.
What was it? Ionic?
It was Ionic 5.
5.
Nice
Great
car.
looking thing.
Yeah,
I
nice
had-
car.
I had 170 miles range.
Yeah.
When I left here, I had the heaters on, but I didn't drive home above 70. Genuinely. Had
Yeah,
music.
that's
didn't have
rubbish.
heated seats on.
Yeah.
Drove home. At radar guided cruise control. Sat behind cars most of the way home, chilling.
That's probably sucking the battery, mine.
Got home. There was about just over 70 or 80 miles. It was bitterly cold. I remember having to defrost the window. By the time I defrosted the window, it had dropped to 60 range. I couldn't afford to have any heating on. I lived 50 miles away in Portishead, Bristol, from work. I had to stop at Lee Delamere because I wouldn't have made it in.
That's crazy.
And it left here with 170. I drove 60 on the inside lane window. I could see my breath inside the car, but I had to keep putting the heaters on so the window would...
That's horrible, mate.
Granted, it took 10 minutes and it cost £1 to get enough charge, enough to get in. So I
Still,
can't
though.
it, but, yeah.
It's no good, is
Coffee
it?
cost me
We
more.
we had Reese from the finance company. Remember, they gave him like a Q5 e-tron thing or whatever it was, the Audi. He had to cancel his afternoon appointments because he does quite a lot of miles, and he couldn't get to his appointment because the two charge stations he stopped at on the way, he couldn't charge his car. There was either like a mental queue or they weren't working, so he had to cancel his afternoon. The guy we sold a car to not long ago, literally this month, do you remember him? He's like the Caravan Club man. I say that because, yeah, I say that. you know, the Muffin Man. The
Caravan Club man.
the Caravan Club man.
What a title.
Lives on Derry Lane. Yeah, he did a review. Did a review.
Derry Lane, yeah.
That's it. He did a review for the Caravan Club, and he borrowed one of the new BMW electrics to go to Scotland, remember? And it took him. He had to charge it 9 times.
That's ridiculous.
Towing a caravan, granted, but a big old bus. It would have been. I remember. Should have said this. The after thing. I remember. This was just after COVID. It was selling. I sold a Renault Zoe over the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible this was, and I said to the customer, "I'll be there latter part of the afternoon." And it was getting a bit tense in there because the day went mad, and I was in on my own. And then the customer said, "Look, where's my blooming car?" I said, "I'll be there." I said I'd be there like latter part of the afternoon. Look, I'll leave in a minute. Car was charged up, 56 miles or whatever it was on the range. And I checked. I thought I better Google Map it again, like where she lives. I thought it was within that because she said it was like Gloucester or Cheltenham or something, and she was 51 miles away according to Google Maps. I thought, bearing in mind this is, I can't remember what sort of time of year it was, autumny time. I was losing the light. So I left here with 56 miles. I remember driving on the A419, being overtaken by lorries, leaving it to the last second to turn the lights on. Like avoid using anything. No radio, no heater, nothing. Like if it had spit with rain, I'd like wait till I couldn't see to like move the wipers. And I think I got there with like 11 miles. Horrible.
We had customers go from here, probably in that Zoe, went right.
That was the city
They
go.
went up the hill. Was it the city go?
Yeah.
To the literally not even as far as half towards eight. Literally got to the Science Museum at the top. Turn around, come back, and remember them saying, "Tom, we've done 35 miles of range already."
Joking.
They had heated seats on.
That's like 2 miles.
They literally did that, and they were literally. I come back and I checked, and it was fully charged, and it was they did 30 odd miles of range.
Do you know
They said
what?
we can't have it.
I don't. Yeah, I know. They are scary, man. It is scary. The best EV I've used is a Tesla. Actually, in regards to what you get out of what it says you'll get, it's definitely not. Bearing in mind this was at Christmas, and I had the display on because you can change the center display from a car to a Santa sled. So I had that on, like jingling all the way over and that. And it said like fully charged that Tesla would have like 180 miles in it because it was the single motor
Yeah.
one. And I think I drove to Devizes and back in the winter, so I had heated seats on, lights, wipers, and it was probably Devizes and back. Say, if you said it was 40 miles each way, that's generous, right? That's generous. So 80 miles, and I would get back to my house with about 70, 80 miles on. So it was probably 70, 80 miles, and it used 100, 110 miles. It was pretty good.
not
It was
bad,
pretty
considering,
good,
yeah.
like a 4-year-old Tesla. That's actually coincidentally the one that we lost our ass on. It cost us £5,000 to sell that car. In the end,
Yeah, I think it dropped 12 in the book, didn't it?
we bought that like the month before he dropped all the prices on the Teslas, and just before like all the EVs flooded the market off the back of the lease deals.
That's it. All the lease companies.
I remember I was price dropping that car like weekly. It was terrifying. Every day I'd come in, I'd have to check that car and drop it once a week, sometimes more. Thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds.
Surprising the companies didn't just get bust.
Apparently, some of the EV ones did. I can't remember, but I've looked before I think when we were the first time we went to the awards, there was that award for the EV. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I can't remember who it is, but I was looking the best EV one, and I remember thinking at the time, I don't know if this is the one that went bust or whatever, but I remember thinking, Jesus,
Because Giraffe Cars were on the table with us. They're the Northern Irish guys.
that's the EV guys, is it?
They do some EV stuff, and I think they're still doing alright with it.
I think I heard when the guy picked up that Ioniq 5, because we got that underwritten and sold, he come from a Skoda dealer in London. He said they do all right with them. I bet around London they are all right. But around here, in the rurals and that, you get charge stations around here, man. It's all fields and farms, isn't it? The further that way you go, less and less you see of a fuel station. I expect
Lee Denham have only just put some serious ones in.
have they?
And I reckon I've been commuting here six years now on the Trot Plus, and I reckon about a year and a half ago, I remember seeing them about a year ago, them actually building them at the back end of the car park. As you go to Bristol, you can drive past and they're right here. They must have had some other ones, but they were recently added.
Are they the super ones, are they? The charging 80% in 20-minute type things, yeah.
I don't think there was much there before.
I can't be bothered. I couldn't even do it at a Tesla because I was borrowing it through here. It wouldn't let me set up the blooming app because I wasn't the registered owner of it. I'd be registered owner, send my license, do the thing. Yeah, you have
I just
to.
had to tap my card.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't. Maybe you can do it like that then.
Pretty good in truth.
Yeah. No, I've never
Headache, I think
I've
it
never
gets
tried
worse,
it. Wait, is that fair to say? Was I doing that or something else? I might be getting confused.
Some of them I think you have to have an app for. I've seen.
Right. Yeah. I
I've
wonder
seen
if it is the
people talking about
Tesla.
them.
Because I know you can't even order parts with someone on the phone. That was a problem with that thing. We were trying to get a speaker cover for it. Remember?
Yeah.
Speaker was crap. We didn't even notice. Jeez.
Anal, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you couldn't even you can't even ring anyone to order parts.
We had to get a full door card, didn't we?
We got a second-hand door card off eBay. Had to. You can't order it.
Why is that? Do they?
Can't order them. You can't order the bit. You got to order the part. There's no one you can speak to. There isn't, like, the parts department doesn't exist. You can't speak to anyone.
Who do you call, like your local?
You don't. You order it from an online catalogue. Yeah, you order it from an online catalogue.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. EV's weird. Electric's weird.
We got off on a tangent.
We're going off a massive tangent, but I've had fun. That was quite fun. What was the actual question originally? I don't think it was anything to do with
Nothing to do
EVs.
with EVs.
Those are the best, though, aren't they? You remember them like spontaneous weekends with the lads and that, where you don't plan, all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're just all in the car on the way to Bournemouth.
end up somewhere,
Yeah, and it's just like the best weekend ever. Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. I think we were talking about buying patterns or something, if I remember rightly. I think the last question I remember you asking me is, but if people's expectations are right with pricing.
Yeah.
I think we've gone way off on that. I don't know how to draw it back to that now. I think we've gone too far.
I think we've probably touched on enough, do you think, for this episode?
Yeah, probably. We have just. Is there anything else, do you think, to cover with people selling their car? That's what we wanted to say, wasn't it? Just the only thing I wanted to say, just to absolutely U-turn and go backwards. I started to say about it, didn't I? Like people pay too much attention to what they see cars up for.
Yes.
That can properly mislead you, that can. And don't forget, with selling cars, like time is money, as in if you wait too long because you're holding out for a magic figure that isn't realistic, your car's taking book drops and might be getting less desirable. What cars are up for is not an indication of what they're worth. That's just what someone's trying to sell it for. And to use a dealer, for example, even independent like us, as a reference point for how much you might be able to get for your car is just so far away in the most case. Because it doesn't happen like that. Sensible profit margins are built in. It's no secret. Like sensible profit margins are built in. I remember watching that. I watched that Mark McCann's part 2 on his GT3 where he said they offered him a slot if he'd buy 3 brand new Taycans. And when he said the words, I thought that might be right because I'll buy 3 brand new Taycans and lose 10%. I went,
I sat there.
10%?
Straight away.
10%? I thought you were going to lose 10%, mate. Jesus, you'd be looking to retain 10%. Like that's a Taycan. So that's a brand new Taycan. That's a very extreme scenario. But
Carl said best case scenario, you'd get 80 back.
I thought it was 70.
70 back.
Yeah, I thought it was 70.
140 less, weren't they?
Yeah, something like that. It's just like halved.
Just delivery mileage.
Yeah, but I mean that's a different extreme. But what I thought was, and I think I don't know how it came to his mindset being that it was 10%. Whether he was trying to just like set a, like this might sound realistic, but look how far away it actually is type thing. I don't know because he comes across like a very intelligent man.
I think he plays down to it.
Maybe, but the point is, the newer the car you go, the bigger that deficit's going to be. But to use a dealer to reference what a dealer's selling a car for, to reference what your car might be worth, is just not the case. They're definitely going to have, and you do get that sometimes. Well, I've seen them up for so and so. It's like, yeah, well, they are up for that. Like, A, that doesn't mean they're selling for that, but B, that's because the dealer's selling them. There's so many pieces to that puzzle that people don't have an insight to.
Was it this morning or last morning? How much did you disclose how much our average prep cost on a car is?
Oh, we were talking about this. Was it this morning?
Or yesterday morning?
Well, yesterday morning, yeah. So we think it's anywhere from £1,000 to £1,500, but that doesn't factor in how much the warranties cost. That doesn't factor in any after sales that we do goodwill on. Don't offer any of that. It doesn't take into account if we've had to over allow on a PX.
Yeah.
It doesn't take into stuff like consideration stuff like that. I mean, like I said, the key is with your cars can cost you £2,000 each to prep, can't they? If you buy them right, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But no, there is even just a basic prep a car. I think it's the point, isn't it? So to health check a car, to service it if it's due within a sensible time frame, like 6 months, 6,000 miles, to MOT it if it's due within less than 7 months. If they're due cam belts, we're of course going to have to do that. Yeah, if they're due things like that, we have to do that. And then you got there's staff that uphold these premises. There's VAT to pay. There's corporation straight away, and that's 20% in the difference between what you buy it for and sell it for. Mind.
Yeah, your actual
not
profit.
Net profit.
Because as a motor trader, we're one of the only businesses
that get slapped like that
per unit.
Yeah.
Our VAT's not on our profit and loss a quarter or whatever. It's per unit, isn't it?
The difference between purchase and sale price.
So we could run a business that made no money, yet we still have to pay 20%.
That's right.
on the
The
profits.
VAT. Well, UK Motorpower, I think, was paying VAT bills, wasn't it, when it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So there's that. You've got VAT to pay, 20%. You've got corporation tax to pay. You've got people's wages to pay. You've got materials to pay. You've got insurance, advertising, after sales, warranties, prep,
Depreciation.
you stomach.
I know we're flying cars out, but on average,
We're whipping
I reckon
cars
it's
out.
30, 40 days for a good business.
Oh, crikey, that would give you 100% stock turn in a month. That's a hell of a result.
Yeah.
If you whipped a car, if your average stock turn was 30 days, you'd be 100%, you'd be whipping all your cars out every month. That's mental. That's a good return, I think. That's a really good
reckon our
return.
average is about. Well,
Ours is in the
we're
90th
flying.
percentile, I would
Yeah.
say, 85 to 90. It's difficult to skew that curve though when when you're stocking 40 cars,
Yeah.
because if you're a car supermarket turning 100% of your stock, you're happy,
Yeah.
well happy. But there's lots of factors that come into it, loads that people don't see, and that and you might be sat there thinking as a customer, well, that's your problem, that's your business. Well, yeah, it is, but we need the profit margins to be able to accommodate that as our problem and swallow it, so that we can offer people the peace of mind to buy from a trusted outlet that's prepped the car properly, that offers after sales, that offers warranty, that will take your part exchange. Because otherwise, what you got? Dodgy backstreeters or private sales. We've already talked about how shit the private sales experience is. People don't want to buy cars privately. Not without ticking every box and inventing some new ones to tick along the way. Horrible experience for both the buyer and the seller, in my opinion. Stressful for both. And then what? Do you want to go down dodgy Dave's deals, do you? Some backstreet in Birmingham to be buying cars. Like, we can't have the profit margins. And I think we got a really good balance between how we purchase our cars, prep them, and still competitively sell them, and uphold the level of after sales that we uphold.
It's a very difficult balance.
Real difficult balance, but we do get it right, and we don't always offer. We're not going to be the cheapest. Damn right, we're not going to be the cheapest. These ain't cheap to get.
Can't have cake and eat it.
You can't.
Can't prep the cars we do and then discount in the back end.
You can't do it. You can't do it. You're saying you can't facilitate everything that we do and do it like that. So yeah, I guess the short story is there is a significant distance between trade and retail, but
It's warranted.
if that's how you want to transact, it's justified, definitely. And like I said before, the best deal is the one when you're in front of me. Come in, innit? Please come in. Those are the deals I like as well. I like doing it. I like doing it like that. But yeah, there's always going to be that disparity. Always. Cheapest car isn't the cheapest car. Always, you know what I mean? It's definitely not.
Oh, we could talk about that. Price markers on Auto Trader. That's an interesting topic. The price markers on Auto Trader, they've been around for about 2-3 years now, I think.
It's a couple of years, isn't it?
It's a fairly new addition, but it will show you fair, good, excellent. It's a good gauge to find out.
How do they know that, though?
That's the point. So they take information based on model, spec, mileage, and the price you're trying to sell it at. What they don't factor into is condition, is what servicing's been done. So
desirability.
Yes, exactly. But if you put full or no service history, it will give you the same price marker.
Nuts, isn't it?
If you have got a car
so annoying, yeah.
So
that's a good point.
You could run a business now that doesn't probably service cars, that doesn't do well refurbs, doesn't do any paint, advertise it at a lower price, and you'd look like you were the best value car.
Yeah.
You got to drive that car away. You got 4 tyres to potentially do in. You got brakes on the limit. You've got 2 wheel refurbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Say, well, hold on a minute. You're going to spend 800, 900 quid a grand next 6 months to get that car together properly. Were you better off buying it?
Yes, you were.
600,
From
700
us.
quid cheaper? Probably
Definitely not.
Yeah, so
Definitely
the Auto
not.
Trader price markers, take those with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Because you're not rewarded for doing the job properly.
And that's right.
Against the price marker, we are obviously as a business.
I guess I understand why they do it, because of how many factors they'd have to consider. Their algorithm, I expect, would have to be even more intuitive. But I think that's a fair thing to say, because it's like, well, hang on a sec. How can you call someone's deal great and mine fair when, my car's prepped better with a better service history and a lower ownership?
Recent combo.
Yeah. And how would that pricing matrix price a 2-year-old GT3 RS? Don't buy from this dealer, he's actually robbing you, is what it would come up at. like an overlist car, let alone a yeah. I don't know.
data.
I'd be interested to see what they. I bet they probably got the no analysis thing. I digress with that. I was just curious. I thought, yeah, I was curious.
I think we
Spread
might
it
have to
out.
wrap up because I think I saw Jack flapping in the background. So
He's probably got some customers. Yeah, well, that's good news. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, even though we went off on a heck of a tangent.
just want to close on one thing, because we mentioned it, we didn't elaborate on Jesse May, so I'll make this really quick. So when we launched Swindon Car Buy in October 21, Nate set me out to find a local charity to support. I spoke with Kim, I think it was at the time. So it's a children's hospice in Bristol. They do end of life palliative care for kids. We contribute £25 for every car we buy. We've done some other fundraisers for them over the last couple of years. We've raised
Wow,
£19,110 to date for them, which is massive.
that's wicked, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
if you are looking to sell a car, if you sell through us, 25 quid does go toward them as well. So we do try and help with a good cause on that note as well. Not that's the only reason to sell to us, but it adds and it makes such a big difference.
No,
to
but it's just
families.
it was Nathan wanted to give something back, didn't he? He did.
Yeah, we haven't seen 19 grand worth of business back, and I'd have preferred to have that on my bottom line with UK Motorbike. Do not get me wrong, but
Well, you
it makes
at this
such a nice difference.
at the start of it, you would, wouldn't you? I guess if you're not making loads and loads and loads and loads of money, which it wouldn't, and someone said, "Look, give us, can you spare 20 grand for charity?" You'd be like, "Well, fucking hell,
Yeah,
no, I can't." But the 25 quid a car, have we really missed it? No.
no, I'm really proud of what we set
I'm
up.
so glad that we did it. Yeah, it's lovely. I can't wait to get to that 20,000 milestone. That'd be nice.
Well, where we're going, mate, I reckon we could be there this month. I reckon we'll be
Yeah.
over £1,000 this month.
Well, we will. Yeah, yeah, we will. Yeah,
Yeah.
we will. 100%. Mint. Yeah, so we will be there this month. Ah, that's good.
And we're going to a charity ball next month, which we'll do a video and take you on to as well.
Black tie.
Right, on that note, thanks for watching.